Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the completely fascinating world of cultivating blueberries. We're going to give you a super clear, step-by-step roadmap drawn straight from agricultural science. We'll cover the whole shebang, from the unique biology of their roots to the exact soil chemistry you absolutely need for a massive, bountiful harvest.
I mean, just imagine it, a garden teeming with vibrant, juicy blueberries, ready to literally burst with flavor right at your fingertips. It's an incredible picture, isn't it? Well, do you want to know the real secret behind successful blueberry planting? Stay tuned, because by the end of this, you'll have the exact blueprint to make that vision reality right in your own backyard.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's a quick rundown of our journey today. We'll start with the introduction and variety selection, move on to planting time and location, then tackle acidic soil preparation. After that, we'll hit planting steps and techniques, care, watering, and pruning. And finally, the best part, harvesting and some extra tips.
All right, Section 1, Introduction and Variety Selection.
So before we put anything in the ground, we really need to understand the plant itself. Blueberries belong to the genus Vaccinium, which is part of the Ericaceae family, and here is the kicker. Unlike most fruit crops, blueberries have an incredibly shallow, fibrous root system that totally lacks fine root hairs. Because of this little anatomical quirk, they have a really tough time penetrating heavy soils. They actually rely heavily on a symbiotic relationship with specific fungi, ericoid mycorrhizal fungi, just to absorb nutrients. Understanding this root structure is absolutely crucial. It's the whole reason behind all the strict soil and watering rules we're going to look at today.
Right off the bat, choosing the right variety is literally half the battle. There are three main types you need to consider. First, the rabbit eye. This one is super robust, turns from pink to blue as it ripens, and it has a really low winter chill requirement, making it perfect for warmer southern climates. Then you have the southern highbush. It ripens early, but honestly it demands incredibly precise soil management. It's pretty high maintenance. Finally, the northern highbush. This one is strictly for cooler climates with long winters. It will just flat out fail in hot, humid summers. Oh, and here's a pro tip for you. To get the absolute largest, sweetest berries, always plant at least 2 different varieties of the same type. This ensures robust cross-pollination. It's a real game changer.
Moving right along to Section 2, planting time and location.
When it comes to blueberries, timing is basically everything. Autumn, specifically October to November, is biologically the absolute best window for planting if you're in a temperate region. Why? Well, as the air cools down and leaf growth stops, the soil actually stays warmer a lot longer. This gives those shallow, sensitive roots weeks to establish before the ground freezes. Now, if you're using dormant bare root plants, November to February is your sweet spot. Miss the fall window, no worries. March to April offers a great spring window for container plants to acclimate thanks to warm days and cool nights. Just do us a favor and avoid summer planting completely. The heat stress is usually fatal.
But hey, even if you pick the perfect season, it won't save you if you choose the wrong spot in your yard. Blueberries demand a minimum of 6 hours of direct, full sun every single day to produce fruit. And because of those fragile roots we just talked about, excellent drainage is totally non-negotiable. Seriously, never plant them in a low-lying area where water pools or the roots will literally suffocate. Lastly, they do need a bit of a shield from severe, drying winter winds, which can cause some pretty nasty freeze damage.
Okay, Section 3, acidic soil preparation. This is a big one. If there is one thing you remember from this entire explainer, make it this specific number, 4.5 to 5.5. That is the exact, highly acidic pH level your soil needs to be. Blueberries will simply not adapt if the pH is above 5.5. If your native soil is neutral or alkaline, you can't just stick a blueberry bush in the ground and cross your fingers. You have to actively go in and alter the chemistry of the earth before you even think about planting.
So how do we get to that magic 4.5 to 5.5 range? You're going to need organic amendments. Sphagnum peat moss is a real superstar here. It lowers the pH and adds some great fluffy organic matter. Just mix this directly right into your planting hole. Pine needles are also amazing. They act as a naturally acidic mulch. You'll want to lay down an 8 to 10 centimeter layer right on the surface. And don't forget rotted pine sawdust. Blending that with sand and your native soil is fantastic for improving that critical drainage we talked about, all while maintaining the acidity.
Now, if you ever find yourself looking at a sickly, struggling plant, a condition called iron chlorosis is very often the culprit.
Here's what happens. If your soil pH climbs above 5.5, a chemical reaction actually completely blocks the plant's ability to absorb iron, even if there's plenty of iron sitting right there in the soil. It's like the plant is starving at a buffet. The visual symptom is pretty distinct. The leaves will turn a sickly yellow, but the veins remain stark green. Without fixing the pH, growth just halts, and the plant will eventually die. And that, my friends, is exactly why we test and amend our soil first.
All right, let's get our hands dirty. Section 4. Planting Steps and Techniques.
Now, what's really interesting here is the contrast in planting philosophies across different regions. For example, traditional Bulgarian sources often recommend planting the bush 4 to 5 centimeters deeper than it sat in its nursery pot, just to securely anchor the plant. On the flip side, U.S. academic protocols strictly advise planting right at surface level, or a maximum of 1.5 to 2 centimeters below. They warn that planting any deeper suffocates those oxygen-hungry shallow roots and basically invites phytophthora root rot. We're laying out both approaches for you here so you can see how regional practices vary, but no matter what, both sides totally agree on just how incredibly sensitive this root system is.
Let's walk through the actual mechanics of planting, step by step. Step 1. Dig a hole that's much wider than it is deep. You're looking at about 70 to 80 centimeters across. Why? Because, as we know, blueberry roots grow outwards laterally, not straight down. Step 2. Fill that hole with your customized acidic mix of peat, pine, and sand. Step 3. Carefully position the root ball. You want to gently tease those roots apart so they don't keep circling themselves. And Step 4. Immediately apply a nice, thick 8 to 10 centimeter layer of pine mulch over the top to lock in moisture and protect everything.
Got heavy, stubbornly alkaline clay soil? Don't worry, here is an absolute genius hack for you. Get yourself a massive 100-liter plastic container and just cut the bottom out. Sink this bottomless pot right into the ground, leaving a few centimeters exposed above the soil line, and fill the whole thing entirely with your acidic substrate. This physically isolates your blueberries' roots from the alkaline soil surrounding it. Oh, and if you have moles or rodents digging around your yard, simply install a piece of wire mesh at the open bottom before you fill it up. Problem solved.
Moving on to maintenance. Section 5. Care, watering, and pruning. Let's talk about watering, because how you deliver it matters just as much as how much you give. The absolute ideal setup utilizes drip irrigation. This keeps the leaves dry, which prevents fungal diseases. You want to use rainwater or slightly acidified water, delivering a steady 1.5 to 3 liters per square meter every single week. On the flip side, harmful watering relies on things like overhead sprinklers or alkaline, chlorinated municipal tap water. Over time, that tap water will completely reverse all that hard work you did lowering the soil pH. And remember, keep it moist, but never ever waterlog those roots.
When it comes to everyday maintenance, patience is totally key. Look, it might absolutely break your heart, but you have to remove all the flower buds in year 1. I know, but doing this forces the plant to spend its energy establishing a robust root system instead of making fruit right away. Trust me, it pays off. You won't actually need to do any heavy renewal pruning until about year 5 or 6. At that point, you'll go in during late winter and remove 10 to 20% of the oldest canes right down to the soil level to trigger fresh, vigorous growth. And a super quick tip on fertilizing. Blueberries are very sensitive to over-fertilizing. However, if you used fresh, unrotted pine sawdust in your soil mix, you'll actually need to double your organic nitrogen application to compensate for how it breaks down.
Finally, the fun part. Section 6. Harvesting and additional tips.
But right before you grab your basket, a quick warning, watch the skies. You are definitely not the only one waiting for these sweet berries. Birds absolutely love blueberries. In fact, they can decimate up to 80% of a ripening harvest in just a matter of days. It's wild. So, to guarantee you actually get to eat your crop, draping protective bird netting over your bushes right as the berries start to change color is a completely non-negotiable step for serious growers. Beating the birds to the punch is incredibly worth it, especially when you look at the health benefits. Blueberries aren't just delicious, they are a literal nutritional powerhouse, packed with flavonoids and antioxidants. Studies actually show that a diet including blueberries can lower cholesterol by up to 12%, slow brain aging, improve your memory, and even enhance your retina's ability to adapt to the dark. They are essentially delicious medicine grown right in your own backyard. Oh, and to preserve all those amazing nutrients, always store your unwashed harvest loosely covered in the fridge to keep them fresh longer. So, I leave you with this thought.
Have you actually checked your local soil pH lately? And more importantly, are you ready to cultivate your own resilient fruit-bearing oasis? We've given you the science, the step-by-step process, and the clever hacks to bypass the most common pitfalls. The next move is entirely yours. Go grab a soil test kit and get started on your blueberry journey.
As we wrap up this explainer, please keep this final, crucial note in mind. Always remember to consult your local agricultural extension office. As we've seen today, microclimates, baseline soil conditions, and your exact optimal planting dates can vary greatly depending on your specific region. Use everything we discussed today as your ultimate foundational guide, and then tailor it locally to guarantee your success. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into blueberry cultivation. Happy planting, and we'll see you next time.